Okay, I think I'm live. Am I live? I'm not even sure. Okay. Okay, I think I'm live, so we're just going to get started. Listen, guys, I have absolutely no flipping clue what I'm doing, but if you could just, oh, yay, people are saying it's working in the chat. Yay, yay, yay. Oh my God, that was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. So that's pretty great. All right, so I wanted to do this live stream today for a couple of different reasons. Number one, my channel just got monetized. Yay, 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 yay. Now I never expected like that to happen that quickly, so I have like really no idea what I'm gonna do with it yet. But I thought that we would do a little live stream, and maybe I can give you all an update on what's been going on since my article went viral, because that's how most of you guys know me. And I can take any questions, and I have a couple of other ideas as well that we can do on the stream that just might be like kind of fun. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat if you have any questions, if there are any topics that you want me to address specifically. Again, I do have a couple ideas for things I want to talk about, but I'm totally open to taking questions and having a little bit of back and forth as well. All right, so my life has been turned a little upside down in the last couple of weeks. I went, for those of you who don't know, I actually went to CPAC last week, and I just published an article about my experience a couple days ago. I actually have a video coming out on the channel. It's literally exporting right now. It'll be up a little bit later today about my CPAC experience, and then looking at another version of like another article basically that popped up in the media about how horrible and racist people are at CPAC. So I did a little bit of a critique on that as well. But I have to tell you, like, this has been crazy. I just keep looking over at my husband, like, throughout the day when we're, like, sitting on our couch, and I'm like, this is nuts, Victor. Like, I have no idea, like, what's even going on right now. And he's like, yep, this is crazy. I've done an awful lot of interviews, and CPAC was really great, by the way. I was so nervous to go to CPAC. I was like, I'm gonna stick out like a sore thumb, and I don't even know what to wear to CPAC. And people were really open and welcoming, and so that was pretty great. So a couple things I want to talk about. So number one, have you guys heard about this thing that came out today about like Joe Biden wants to do a moratorium on deportation? Like, am I the only one that thinks that that is absolutely crazy? I mean, listen, and again, like, I write about this in my article, like, I still have not abandoned my liberal views on things. I really, really haven't. There are still very many liberal views that I hold, but I gotta tell you, and this may even surprise people who know me, I am very conservative when it comes to immigration. I mean, maybe not like ultra conservative, but I'm pretty well there. And the reason for that is I'm married to an immigrant. I'm married to an immigrant, and not only that, and yeah, I was talking about this a little bit on Twitter today. I'm not only married to an immigrant, I'm married to an immigrant who was once an illegal immigrant. I'll explain that in a second. Who was almost deported, and then we had to fight with the government for 4 years. So a little bit of backstory is, oh, Tim just asked, Dems plus immigration, what am I thinking? Yeah, so a little bit of a backstory here is that I met my husband, it's actually going to be 9 years on May 14th. I know the exact date I met my husband, because my husband was one of my movers when I bought my house, and he was one of the people that showed up to move me that day. And I was moving from Vermont to New Hampshire, and I had been trying to learn Russian at the time, just because that's apparently what people do when they're bored and living in middle of nowhere Vermont. And so I had been trying to learn Russian because I thought it would be cool to speak that language. I just thought it sounded like really kind of like bad. I don't want to swear, but like really like, strong. So my husband shows up, and he has a Russian accent. And I'm like, "Where are you from?" Because I never met anyone that actually spoke Russian before. And he said, "Oh, I'm from Ukraine, and Russian is his first language." And we started chatting, and lo and behold, one thing leads to another, and he moved me, and I got to watch him pick up very large pieces of furniture. And that's like, I mean, come on, like, ladies, is there anything more enticing than a man who can lift really heavy things for you? I mean, I'm sorry. So we started dating. I knew I wanted to marry him on our second date. He was also very open with me where he said, look, I'm not necessarily here legally. What had happened is he did come here legally. He came on a work visa for like a work program, and then he overstayed it. So he just stayed longer than he should have. And then, so we started dating. He was always very honest with me. And then about 2 or 3 months in, I think, 2 or 3 months into us dating, he got picked up by immigration and he almost got deported. And at that point, I was kind of like, well, time to make a decision. Is it ill-considered marriage time or what? And so we did end up getting married. Now, I knew I wanted to marry him on our second date. I didn't get married just to keep him here. It was not just an immigration thing. But following that, we actually had to fight with immigration for 4 years from the time we got married, for 4 years, to get him a permanent green card. And in the course of fighting to keep him here, I had to go, I mean, we had to go to immigration court so many times, like, and we would just sit there for, like, immigration court is like not a fun place to be if anyone has ever like not had the privilege of going through this. You sit there for hours at a time and just watch person after person that most of them are not here legally, and they're there usually because like they've done something, they've committed some crime, and some of the crimes are minor and some of the crimes are really not minor, but they come up and then the judge goes, okay, here's your court date, come back in a year. And they walk out the courtroom and they just go back to their lives. These are people who are not here legally, who like they've been given some reprieve or something because they're fighting their deportation order or whatever. They do bad things and then they just go, and they're supposed to come back to court in a year and they just keep fighting it. And what happens with a lot of these people is even if they do get deported, they just come back. They just come back and they do it over and over and over again. And so me and my husband are sitting there watching this and going, listen, I know my husband didn't necessarily do this the right way. I get it. But this is crazy town. How this is working is crazy town. And part of the reason that I'm so kind of conservative on immigration is because so many people are doing this, and the courts, at least when I had to do this, are so backed up. And that's why it took my husband 2 years to get like a temporary green card. And finally, like, he also couldn't work during the first 2 years of our marriage because he didn't have his green card yet, so we were still fighting to get that. So we got that 2 years in, and then it was another 2 years before he got a permanent green card. And so I'm like, this is crazy. This is absolutely insane. And Joe Biden came out, I think it was today, it was sometime recently, to basically say if he gets elected, he's going to do a moratorium on all deportation. Like, I thought that Joe Biden was supposed to be the sensible, moderate candidate. What the holy hell? Like, so now there's literally no one on the Democratic side that is going to be deporting people who absolutely should be deported, and aren't going to be doing anything to enforce border security. I mean, I don't think it never occurred to me that the Democrats would go so crazy that they would be like, we're just going to let anyone in the country whenever they want to come in, and they can stay as long as they like, and they can do use our resources. And I'm all for, giving people access to opportunity, but at some point you have to say, we don't have enough for everyone. You all have your own countries. I mean, what incentive is there? Like, it just makes absolutely no sense to me. So I think that, oh God, guys, I hate to say this. I don't know if there's actually like a Democrat in the race that I can vote for. I just don't know. I can't vote for Bernie because I think that Bernie surrounded himself with bad actors. And I can't vote for Biden, because Biden is losing it. That's a whole other topic I'll probably address on another day. Like, Biden is obviously not all there. And it's just like, I'm so mad at the Democrats. I'm so mad at them. They had 4 years to get it together. And it just makes absolutely no sense about why in 4 years they couldn't have just found a nice little moderate candidate that wouldn't be crazy to run against Donald Trump. I feel like they haven't left people like me any choice, and it makes me so incredibly angry at them. I feel so incredibly betrayed by what they've done. Man. So that was the first thing I wanted to talk about was Joe Biden basically saying we're not going to deport anyone anymore. And listen, we know Bernie's not going to do it, and it's just I just don't know. Like I just don't know what these people are thinking. Um, so that was kind of the first thing that came to mind. The next thing I kind of wanted to address is let's see. I'm just going to check the chat really quick. You guys, again, let me know if you have any specific questions that you want me to answer. Oh, updates on a couple of things. So I've been doing a whole bunch of interviews lately. There's going to be more stuff coming out really soon. The biggest news, because people have been asking me about this, is I will be going out to LA at some point, probably in the next 2 weeks. I'm still trying to get like final confirmation on the date they want me to do it, but I am going to be going out to LA to be on Dave Rubin's show, and I'm so excited about that. I think it's going to be really interesting to talk to him because I think that he and I were on like similar journeys in different ways. It manifested itself in different ways, but I think we had a very similar journey. And one of the things that I've heard Dave Rubin say, and I think this was a recent thing where he was talking about how he had drinks at a bar with a friend of his that is still in the more like progressive camp, and he asked him, do you believe that I believe that I hold my beliefs as strongly as you do? So Dave Rubin asked his friend that, do you believe that I hold my beliefs as strongly as you hold your beliefs? And his friend said no, and that really pissed him off, and he slammed money down on the counter and he kind of walked out of the bar after that. And I gotta tell you, that totally resonates with me. That totally resonates with me because a lot of the things that I'm talking about now and that I'm putting out on social media now, I kind of feel like I got pushed out of the closet. I got pushed out of like the she's not a crazy leftist closet because I had been these are things that, people think, maybe I should back up a little bit. People think that I just went to a Trump rally and changed my whole perception of the world. And that's just not true. That's absolutely not true. This journey actually started for me many, 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 many months ago. I want to say back in like October or September is really when this journey started for me. And part of it was the knitting thing. Part of it was also that I just didn't have any candidate that I could get behind in the race and feel really good about. I kind of got myself psyched up about Mayor Pete at some point, but I wasn't really feeling like, yeah, this is absolutely my candidate. I kind of thought like, oh, like this is like the best you can do, Democrats, like what the what? And there were like 20,000 people running at one point too. And so my husband, because my husband always comes into this. People have asked how my husband is doing with all of this, and he's totally fine. But he kind of said to me, and this is like again back last year sometime. He's like, Carlin, you should listen to Ben Shapiro. Like, watch Ben Shapiro. Because my husband was so into, like, all the YouTube stuff before I was. And my husband was like, should watch Ben Shapiro. You'd really like Ben Shapiro. And I was like, no, Victor, I'm not watching Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is Satan. And my husband was like, okay. And he didn't push it. Because he knows not to. And he kind of just went back to playing his video games and ignoring what I was doing. But over time, I kind of started breaking down and I started listening to Ben Shapiro, and lo and behold, discovered that he wasn't Satan. And then my husband was like, okay, Carlin, here's what you need to do now. Now you need to start watching Joe Rogan. And I was like, oh, Victor, Joe Rogan. Really, Joe Rogan? But of course, again, my husband was right. And then it was like down the rabbit hole. And really, in listening to voices, this all started as an experiment to listen to people who I thought I would disagree with, who I thought would be like, these people are wrong and they're stupid and whatever. And as it turns out, I didn't always disagree with them. And so over the course of like many, many months of really kind of looking at all these different voices, that was when I started to clarify my beliefs. And the other thing that really helped, and this is actually pertinent right now to today, because they're going to be doing a live stream at 2 p.m. right after I get done this, is when all the craziness in the knitting community started, this amazing YouTube channel popped up into my awareness called Unsafe Space. Does anyone in the chat watch Unsafe Space? I'm really curious. If you watch Unsafe Space, just like type into the chat and let me know. And if you do not watch Unsafe Space, you should absolutely watch Unsafe Space. They're doing a live kafefe at 2 p.m. Eastern time today. I will be in the live chat. I absolutely love being in the chat. They're like Unsafe Space for me. Essentially, it's the show that's hosted by like one of the hosts of it was an SJW for 20 years. That's Carrie, and then the other host is Carter. And what they do is they really break down like the impact of this SJW ideology and how it has impacted our culture, and they explain it. And for me, that was like thank goodness I found that channel, because it was like I had no idea what was going on with all this cultural stuff. I was just focused on other things. Like I run my own business. I'm a chief science officer at a startup. I was writing a book at the time. Like I was doing all sorts of stuff, and I just wasn't paying attention to the culture stuff. I didn't understand how much had shifted. And, Unsafe Space really unpacked all that for me, and it explained all that stuff. And what they do is just absolutely fabulous. If you like me, you will absolutely love Unsafe Space. Go check them out. Again, they're doing a live stream in about 45 minutes, so everyone can come participate in that. But they have a lot of content as well. And so as this was going on, I really started. I wouldn't say to change my views. I don't think I really have changed my views, but I started to clarify my positions on things. And as I started to understand that the Democrats had gone way off the cliff of where I was comfortable with, I started to realize that like that's not my party anymore. And that's what led to me kind of going to the Trump rally. It's what led to me going to CPAC. Not that I've left my liberal ideals behind specifically, but I just feel like I don't have a political home anymore. Certainly not the Democrats. The Republicans, I feel like, have a much bigger tent right now, and whether or not people who don't like Trump want to admit that I mean, it's Trump's. It's because of Trump that that's happened, right? So that's kind of a little bit more backstory there. Okay, you guys are putting some stuff in the chat now, so I want to make sure I answer some questions. Dave Rubin is cool. I think Dave Rubin is cool too. Let's see. Do you think Chuck Schumer should be removed from Congress for threatening two Supreme Court justices? I think that what Chuck Schumer did, frankly, okay, let's back up. I think that whole abortion, like celebration of abortion, was disgusting. I'm sorry. I'm pro-choice. I am pro-choice, but I think there should absolutely be limits on it. I think that it should be limited to the first trimester, unless the mother's life is in danger, because I believe that gives you enough time to kind of make a decision. But even though I'm pro-choice, I don't believe abortion should ever be celebrated. I can't. I by accident I've seen some of those like TikTok things that come out with, young women like really celebrating and are so happy that they're getting an abortion, and people are like, at that abortion rally, they're like, yes, abortion, I'm gonna celebrate. And like there's this one woman that was wearing earrings that were alligators eating a small child, and I was like, this is gross. I am all for pro-choice, but this is absolutely disgusting. Abortion is something that I believe should be legal. It should be safe because women are going to do it anyway. And it should be rare. It should never ever be celebrated. It should be one of the hardest decisions that any woman should have to make. And so I believe that whole rally was just disgusting. So let's talk about Chuck Schumer. I am really unhappy with what he did, and he knows he was wrong. He should have never ever said those things. Do I believe that he should be removed from Congress? No, I don't think he should be removed. Listen, the people in his constituency elected him. They voted for him. And if he should be removed, it should be because the people that he represents choose to vote for someone else. That should be how he should be removed. But I do believe he should be censured. I really do. I think that was not good, and it just doesn't add anything to the political discourse. Bobby says I need to listen to Rush. I don't know if I can listen to Rush, Bobby. I don't know, man. I don't know. Rush might be a step too far for me. I will say that I was really okay. I don't necessarily approve of things that I've heard Rush say, but I was really kind of tickled for him in the State of the Union when he got that Medal of Freedom. He genuinely seemed just really honored by it, and I think that to me that represented more of the contribution that Rush Limbaugh has made, and I think that that's an important contribution for like half the population, and I think that it was important to acknowledge him, and I think it's really sad that he's struggling. What do I think about Tim Pool? I love Tim Pool. I love Tim Pool. I find that I agree with Tim Pool on so many things. Oh my god, he is like a smart guy. I would like to just like sit down and have a beer with that guy if I'm honest. I think the conversation would be fantastic. Do I listen to Candace Owens? Liz, I'm going to get to the dramatic reading. I will definitely do that. I'll explain that to the non-knitters in a second. Do I listen to Candace Owens? I don't really with any regularity, but I saw her at CPAC and I think she's incredibly smart and what a powerful woman. I think she's great. Um, let's see. Yes, people check out Unsafe Space. It's awesome. Oh my god, you guys are like really chatting in. Oh, John says I should also watch American Thought Leaders on Epic Times. I'm going to be on American Thought Leaders. I actually got interviewed for it at CPAC. There was another interview that I did with them as well when I was down there. So they're going to have, I think the full interview for American Thought Leaders is going to come out. I think they said like next week or something. They said it's relatively soon. There's actually already a preview up for it. Tim says, I thought I was going to say I was chief science officer for a starship. I wish I was chief science officer for a starship. Oh, you guys are a hoot. Okay. All right. So I don't see any more questions. People basically agreeing that Schumer was wrong. Yes, Schumer's a dick. He's not a dick. I shouldn't say that. Like, yeah, I think he's doing what he needs to do, you know? But it's just the way it is. All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is how many knitters do we have in the chat? Are there any knitters here? Any knitters? I know I've got a whole bunch of knitters following me on Twitter right now, which is awesome. Oh, okay. Let's talk about this, John. John says, not to stereotype, but your haircut really screams crazy leftist and you should probably get rid of it. No. I actually need to shave the sides of my head. It's so long right now, and by so long, I mean like a good 2 inches. Like, I need to shave all this stuff. Like, and the reason I'm not getting rid of it is I like my haircut. My haircut is easy. I can make it look cool, relatively speaking. It doesn't take too much effort. I can wear it in different ways, and I don't need to please any of you with how I look. I don't really care what you think of my hair. It's not your business, man. So that's just the way it is. All right, so we've got some knitters, we've got some non-knitters. So what we're gonna do, so this is a little fun experiment that I've been doing on Instagram. So what's, just to kind of back up, you guys know if you read my Trump rally article that part of what started it is like the knitting wars. And the knitting wars are basically, we've got this group, this is all happening mostly on Instagram nowadays, at least what I see. What's happening is you have a lot of people like on Instagram that are in the knitting community, which basically means they're posting pictures of their yarns, they're posting pictures of their projects, they're doing different knit-alongs together. It's just fun, right? And Instagram really lends itself to that. Well, what started happening is these roving gangs, I'm talking of like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not even into the thousands of people, started mobbing other people. I wrote about that in my article. Anytime someone said anything that was remotely out of line, they would get literally attacked and bullied by hundreds of people. And it's still going on today. I mean, they've actually ratcheted up the crazy since my last article. And, fun fact, right now, in the knitting community, green socks are evidence that you are a member of the alt-right. I'm going to say that one more time, because I'm actually going to add a clarification too. Liking a photo of green socks is evidence that you are a member of the alt-right. I'm not making this up. This is why I'm going crazy. They're insane, guys. And so but the good thing that's happened since my article came out is not that they've ratcheted up the crazy to like 11, because they have, but the other great thing, and I don't know if it was from my article or if it just reached kind of a tipping point, is that a lot of people have started to speak up. A lot of people have started to push back on these people that are just really like horrible people and doing horrible things, trying to ruin people's businesses, trying to go after their partnerships, just like bullying them, saying horrible things, posting lies about them. Oh, thank you, Justin, for super chat. Oh, my first ever super chat. Justin gets the gold star. Yay. So these horrible people, they're just like, it's awful. And the reason I see people asking why green. So, okay, here's what happened. Right after my article came out, there was a woman on Instagram who posted this really emotional video. It was actually a very beautiful video. I've watched it several times. And she basically posted this video saying, I saw the bullying and I didn't say anything and I should have spoken out, but I didn't, and I'm really sorry and I apologize. And it was a beautiful video. When she posted it on Instagram, she posted it with a photo of green socks. And then one of the SJW bullies, or the SJW crazies, I kind of use the two terms interchangeably, they liked that photo of green socks. They accidentally put the heart on it. They liked it. And so what they do on Instagram, like this is how insane this is, guys. What they do is they actually monitor each other. And so they go through all the photos and they see what photos you've liked, or they see who you're following, or they see who's following you that you haven't blocked yet. And they'll send you a little message saying, "Are you aware that you liked this photo? And this photo was by someone who's doing racist and misogynistic, transphobic things. They just make stuff up. And you should really not like this photo, and you owe the community an apology." They do this for everything. And so this one woman who liked the photo of green socks then had to issue a dramatic public apology because she liked this photo of green socks. And from there, it was born. And liking a photo of green socks was evidence that you were a member of the alt-right. And so now, because they've ratcheted up the crazy, the people who are pushing back have kind of like in turn ratcheted things up a little bit. And so now there is a green sock knit along happening on Instagram. There's also a hashtag called sock mocking where people are posting some of the most hilarious things. Listen, even if you aren't a knitter, you would enjoy the hilarity that's going on that hashtag. There's sock mocking, there's dismantle the knitting cult. I'm sure there are some other ones that I've missed. But one of the things that I've been doing is I've been doing what I call dramatic readings, where essentially I take content that is completely written by the SJW crazies and I just dramatize it a little. I just read it out loud with a little bit of extra flair, a little bit of extra drama attached to it. And I've been posting these videos on Instagram of me reading some of this content out loud using completely their words, not changing anything, but just being dramatic. Because really, if they're going to bring drama into our community, then they deserve to be mocked for it. So, what I thought I would do today is do a live dramatic reading. I've got a good one. I'm like ready to go. So, who wants to see me do a live dramatic reading? It's actually going to be a pretty long one. Anyone want to see that? Type yes into the chat if you want to see it. Otherwise, I'm going to skip on to something else. Oh, Leanne says, my husband loves your dramatic readings. Justin says, it's going to be awesome if the knitting community are the ones that bring the country back together. Yeah, Justin, I mean, I think that's actually a really good point. I think that, so this, like, what's happened in the knitting community is not different than what's happened in, like, young adult fiction or like the gaming community. What is different though is that people are pushing back, and I really think that we've reached a tipping point with it where people are pushing back to larger and larger and larger degrees than they were before, which I think is really, really good. All right, so yes, everyone wants to see a dramatic reading. Okay, let's do it. Now, I am not going to reveal the name of this person, Those who need to know. And I don't want to embarrass anyone. Well, no, I do want to embarrass them, but I don't want anyone to be attacked. I don't want people to, attack this person or mob them. I think we need to be very conscious of not becoming the monsters that we're fighting. And so I don't want to name this person. I'm just going to read their words. So the first part I'm going to read, this is going to be in two parts. The first part I'm going to read is a caption. So what this person did is she posted a whole bunch of pictures on her Instagram, so you have to like flip through them. But she also posted a caption. So I'm going to do the caption first, and then I'm going to go through the photos and read what she said in the photos. So, the caption. Yesterday, I shared a post to my stories about a new collection of yarn that celebrates white supremacy and belittles the trauma and pain that the BIPOC have endured throughout history. I have not engaged in the comments of that post, nor will I. I've lost one account to doxing in the past, and I'm not about to try that again for a second. I have been using the comment section of that post to block my account from people I think may be unsafe, removing mutual followers, and I encourage you to spend a few moments and do the same. When you share my posts, who are your followers that will see them? Who might you lead back here? If you want to fight, I'm not going to stop you, but look around. Who among us in the fiber community is staying silent? Who has the power, the privilege, and the influence to make change, but isn't? Okay, so that's the caption that she posted. And listen, just to provide extra context, so I believe... Ooh. Okay. I do approve a comment. Okay. So for people who don't know, this is basically responding to so a woman named Maria Tuscan who just does these beautiful hand-dyed yarns, beautiful yarns that Maria does. She basically named a collection that she did after like SJW buzzwords. So what are they? The knitters in the chat can help me. I know that there's emotional labor is one of the titles. I know that like sitting in my discomfort is a title. I think that woke is a title. There's like all sorts of different titles of these yarns that are just hilarious. And Maria was unfortunately one of the people that she got mobbed like very, very badly. Unsafe Space actually has a whole video about this that I would encourage you to watch. And so when she did this collection of yarns, I thought it was beautiful. I really did. I thought she was giving herself power in the situation. I thought it was great. But that's what she's referring to in this dramatic reading when she's talking about a yarn that celebrates white supremacy. All right, so let's now go into the photos. So I have to scroll through a whole bunch of these. So here's what was in her stories. There are times when the rift is too far to span. Attempts to build bridges will crumble long before the other side is reached. Do we continue to waste our efforts shouting into the void? Or do we focus our energy on rebuilding each other and welcoming those that want to learn and grow with us? I know my words will not change their hearts because they refuse to even hear them, and I know my words will invite a tidal wave of hatred into my space. And my space cannot bear that. I will not bear that. My work is best done here on myself to find my place as a mixed race POC with all the privilege that my light skin gives me, here with my family of marginalized folks supporting each other and helping to tend the wounds of trauma, both old and new, here with my privileged friends, the ones who are open to listening and doing the work, even when it is difficult or inconvenient. So to my BIPOC family here with me, let them have their yarn, infused with our blood, sweat, and tears. May their projects stitched with our trauma and pain wear heavily on their shoulders. Let white people collect their own. Let those with less to lose spend their energy on this fight. The end. These people are wacky. I swear to God. I will say too, like, I don't know, just because she brought her race into it, like, I don't know this woman's background. She looks white to me though. She looks white. I'm just saying, like, I don't know what her background is, but she's calling herself like a person of color or mixed race. I don't know. I think it begs the question because people can self-identify as a different race now, right? Isn't like that a thing? Like you can self-identify as being from a different race even if like both your parents are white. So I don't know. I don't know what her background is, but that seems to be that seems to be a thing. See, so now you guys, like if you haven't been in the knitting community, now you know. Now you know that this is this is not an exaggeration. This is stuff we've been dealing with for a year, man. These people are nuts. Um, all right. Can someone bring me a bottle of soy, please? Exactly. Justin, I love you. Justin, oh my god. Justin said she deserves a super chat for that, you know? Hey, listen, if you can give, then fine. If you can't, I'm not gonna hold it against you. I think that I want to kind of wrap this up in a couple of minutes, unless you guys have any other questions that you would like me to answer. This was really just a test run for me to get used to live streaming and learn how the technology works. And I promise I'm going to be doing many more in the future that are much more thought out and strategic than this one was. But I will say too, I am going to be launching crowdfunding soon. I'm probably going to be doing it on Subscribestar just because Patreon has a history of canceling people that I respect, like Sargon of Akkad. And so I am going to be launching that soon. Listen, to be really serious for a minute, the reality is that I'm my own boss. I run my own small business. And I did not to say that I did not expect to go viral for something related to going to a Trump rally would be like the understatement of the century. I really didn't expect it. I was really unprepared for it. And I really didn't think anyone was ever going to see my article. And so I I hadn't even begun to think through the impact of my on my business that this would have. And it has had an impact on my business. That is actually legit. I have lost at least one client. I am 99.9% positive I'm going to lose at least one more, if not more than that. So the reality is I am going to start figuring out other streams of income. If you like this, what I'm doing in terms of talking about politics, once I have these up and running, I do humbly ask for your support so that I can keep doing it. If I can get to a place where I'm bringing in a stable stream of income through this stuff, that would just really help me out, because it is a precarious thing with the business that I'm in. I also got a lot of backlash in the specific community that I work in. Like it was not good for a couple days, and I know that I have a little bit of reputation amongst some in that community now for being an alt-right Trump supporter, whatever. The reality is too, though, and I will say this, I will offer this, I have also gotten business from this. So I do think, not a lot yet, but I have gotten some, and I do think that it will probably at least balance out or hopefully even be better. I mean, God willing. But right now is a little bit of a precarious position. I'm waiting for the dust to settle. So if you like what I'm doing, when I get my Subscribestar online, I'm hoping that's going to be next week. I would ask that you humbly support it, if you can. If you can't, that's cool too. But any little bit helps, and it would be fantastic. All right. Let me just check the chat to see if I have any other questions that you guys want me to answer. Yeah, Leanne says this is real. I shut down my yarn business because of this. And I will say too, with the knitting stuff, there are so many people who haven't even like directly been bullied or mobbed that their businesses have really suffered because of this. It is a real thing. Um Tim says I identify as insanely wealthy. My bank account hasn't caught up. I wish I could identify as insanely wealthy. Andrew says, I wonder if she's a grifter. I'm not even clear on what the definition of a grifter is, to be honest. It's like someone who says stuff just because they think they're going to make money. Um, I never, I mean, to be like really transparent, I am going to make money off of that Trump post. It's from Medium. I'm in the Medium like partner program. But listen, like, okay, so the CPAC article. Oh, someone just sent me a big super chat. Oh my God, Caesar, thank you, thank you, thank you. $50. That's awesome. um, so I will say, in regards to like, am I doing this just to make money? I am going to make a nice little chunk of change off the Trump rally article because it got like 3.3 million views. So, but to give you guys some perspective here, the CPAC article, the follow up I did, which I think has a more like sane amount of views, I've only made like $7 from that. So I know I live in New Hampshire; it's not an expensive place to live, but $7 doesn't actually pay the mortgage. So no, I'm not a grifter. I'm just saying what I think, man. I don't even know what that word means. Jackson says I might write. I don't know if I want to write an article about the backlash, Jackson, because I think that it just gives it too much weight. I mean, to be really blunt, like the backlash, I'll talk about it, but like the backlash I've received has been mostly like crazy people on the internet. They're like sending me hate mail, and that's pretty bad. But I don't want to give those people visibility. They go f themselves. Like I don't care. Um, John says, what has social media told you about society? Is it what you expected? In some respects, yes. I mean, people do not bring their best selves to social media. Let's just say that. People do not bring their best selves to media. Um, so I mean, I think it's the worst of society. Like Twitter is a cesspool. It is an absolute cesspool. And like if you're on Twitter, like don't take anything seriously from Twitter. I'm having a lot of fun on Twitter right now. It's kind of like Twitter in the old days. I was one of like I've been on Twitter since Twitter launched at South by Southwest in like 2006, 2007, something like that. And so like Twitter used to be fun back in the day, and then I went through a long period with Twitter where it sucked, and now Twitter is like fun again for me, but this stuff is not serious. I feel like I should read Caesar's super chat because he's like $50, man. Like what a champion. I like green eggs and ham. I reared it to my granddaughter. Does that make me old fashioned? Green socks or red ties are not conservative. They're clothing. You would be a great spaceship doctor. I agree. Clothing is clothing. And like honestly, guys, here's the thing too. And Scott Pressler said this at CPAC. I think I'm gonna get to see Scott Pressler tomorrow. He's doing an event near me, so I think I'm gonna go to it. But Scott Pressler said this at CPAC. He's like, what a doll that guy is. He said, if you like Trump, wear your red hat and wear it proudly, and don't be afraid. And maybe that's the last message that I'll end on before I kind of wrap up the chat. Is like, listen, I truly believe that expression is a gift that we've all been given from God. The gift, and whether or not you believe in God, I'm not gonna like I'm not religious, but I am deeply spiritual. I don't really care what you believe, but I do believe in my belief system. Expression is a gift that we've been given from God, and if you don't use that gift to express yourself, to express what you believe and what you think and how you feel, what does that say about your relationship with God and kind of ignoring the gifts that you've been given? I truly believe that, and I've talked about this in a few places, but I think it's worth reiterating. This, by and large, as much fun as I've been having with this experience, it's also been deeply humbling for me because I don't believe I wrote this article. I believe this article came through me from God because it was what people needed to hear. And when I look at things from that perspective, I kind of had no choice but to lean into this experience and to continue to go down this road because I believe it came from God. I really do. And I think the same thing is true with any form of expression. If you want to support Trump, you wear that Trump hat loud and proud. Wear the t-shirt. Stop caring what other people think. Yes, there may be pain. You may lose friends. I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot. But I will say that I am continually grateful for the community that's found me as a result of this, and you guys have really picked me up. There were a couple days that it was bad. I'm not gonna lie. It was really bad. I was having panic attacks. I was feeling really depressed. It was not good. And so many of you, people that I've never met in my life, have been there to provide me with support and respect and appreciation, and I will always, always, always be grateful for it. But just know that if you're afraid to speak up, you will have more support than you think you do. You really will. You will have more than you think you do. And I think for me, any business that I've lost or any hate mail that I get, I feel so much freer now than I have felt in years. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. And I would not trade that feeling of freedom and being able to say what I think for any business in the world. It's simply just not worth it. And I understand that some of you are in positions where you think you'll lose your job and so you need to be more careful, but I honestly believe that you will have more support than you think you do. So, express yourself. Say what you want to say. Do it nicely, do it in a loving way. Don't attack people, don't get in fights, but you should absolutely be able to wear your red hat if you want to. And I'm not even I haven't jumped on the Trump train yet. I'm not fully there. I feel like the Democrats are doing everything they can to push me in that direction, but I'm not there. But I want you to be able to do that. All right, let me just check the chat one more time. Remember, Unsafe Space starts in 15 minutes. I hope to see you guys there. All right. I don't see any more questions, guys, so I'm going to end this one now so that I can take a little bit of a break before I jump into the Unsafe Space live chat. But again, thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you so much for the support. I am going to be doing these live streams on a pretty regular basis, and I hope I see you at a future one. All right? Have a great day, guys. Have a great rest of your great weekend.